You are correct. You cannot have enough katanas. And just to be clear, I don't have any mods or anything going on that's giving me weird loot distribution or extra katanas or adding extra items to the game or anything like that. We just have that many katanas because when you kill 16 times as many zombies in your world, you get 16 times as many katanas and crowbars and axes and all the other stuff. So, you know, we kill lots. Alright, so I do have a bunch of produce on us, and we have a bunch of strawberries. Things look pretty good otherwise. We did recoup our, restock on our knives, all that kind of stuff. We should check on what the weather is. See what the deal is with the helicopter. Alright, we got water. Got a spare chair. Yep, and for the record, those who do not know, you cannot find katanas in your world until after 2 months. Thank you for the follow, Brown Guy 21. Welcome to the stream. So, if you're all like, where are all these people finding all these katanas? Yeah, it's you just need to survive longer. Kill more zombie. Is 3 strawberry too many? Okay, that's fine. Wait, is that thick fog today or tomorrow? It's tomorrow. Because I definitely don't want to be fighting stuff during thick fog. New plan. Today we work on our skills. Actually, I take that back. Today, we see if we can get any zombies to show up here in Ekron if I run the sirens. Then we work on our skills. The problem with grabbing thread is I gotta drive all the way back up to Riverside. But, I'm not that, I'm not worried about not having enough thread. Like, 1 block in one of those cities will cover my thread needs. I just need the book. But this is our strategically placed wee-woos. Survivor houses I do not know the rules on. That might be like normal. I'm talking about just finding random zombies with a katana stuffed in them. Like that won't happen until 2 months in, and that's where you'll get most of your katanas. Is just loot out of zombies. So you will notice that it might be going, hey, isn't the siren supposed to be way louder? It is. I do run the advanced volume mod. And I turn down sirens, I turn down horns, and I turn down the splashing sound from fishing because, oh my god, it is so loud. It is so loud. Spearfishing sound, go burr. Yep, so tomorrow's very thick fog, and it's expected to be stormy, which means we're not going to see anything tomorrow. Oh, here we go. We got a couple volunteers. But I'd say it's like, I guess we just really cleared the area out. Because you always get a couple that manage to migrate into the area that need to be killed and whatnot. Excellent. Keep on showing up. Because this is kind of how we're keeping places clear. Because we got our list of cleared locations. And all you do is you have vehicles like this. These are all wrecks, so like I would fix it up and drive it, but it is a full-on wreck. But I strategically place them, so that way we just roll up, turn on the sirens, let them go for a minute, kill what shows up, and then we know that the area is still basically clear. Because unfortunately with redistribution, migrations, all that kind of stuff, the zombies do work their way back into town. So you gotta kind of put them back in their place from time to time. Remind them what's up. That's it. Didn't look like a whole lot showed up. So, with that, I've got a propane torch, and I've got a will to get some more metalworking skill. So I'm going to go take apart some furniture. Actually, first I'm going to work on the mechanics skill, then I'm going to work on that. And the reason I'm doing the mechanics first is because then I can stay near the car and listen for if the helicopter shows up. Because I do like to try and use the helicopter strategically to draw zombies from out of the woods and everything, so I don't have to go in there for them. But that only works if, you know, I know well enough in advance to get in position. Because I think the next one we would take to the factory warehouse area south of Riverside. Because we've cleared it, but not like helicopters cruising around clear. Oh, I need to grab the tools. And that's one of the mods I don't have listed because I need to update my command. That's auto mechanic. It's not giving me an unfair advantage. All it's doing is like where I'd say right click remove, right click uninstall, right click uninstall. It's just doing it. It's just saving me clicks. Because training both your tailoring and your mechanic skills are extremely tedious. But basically all I do is, on a day that we're not going to go around and do stuff, I just do a lap around these cars, break out my propane torch and take apart some stuff. Basically work on our skills, get them up. Because at some point I am going to want to start repairing my cars with as much as we're going to do. They're going to get beat up, banged up, all that kind of stuff. And I do want to get a car with proper sirens and everything, because then, when I go to draw the zombies out, I can just drive the vehicle around with the sirens blaring and kill what shows up. Especially if I get my hands on stuff like machetes and katanas, then, you know, I can just thrash. And for those who don't know about doing mechanic, basically the way you level mechanic is you take out parts and put them back in. Every time you successfully install a part in a car, the first time within 24 hours, you get XP. And every time you fail to uninstall or install a part, you gain XP. Which means if you're just successfully taking out and putting the same part back in again and again and again, you won't get XP past the first time. So generally speaking, kind of the trick of how you deal with this is you just take out all the parts and put all the parts in the car, walk away. You can just grind it out by failing a whole bunch, but it's easier just to do a lap. Oh, and all the parts laying on the ground are the parts I've destroyed. Because that's the consequence of when you fail, is you damage parts, and they very easily get destroyed when it's a wreck, and it's... I mean, you see the stats of the car before I've done damage to it. It's all like 10s and 15% on the stuff you don't damage, you take them in and out. It only takes like 2-3 failures to break apart. As you can tell from like all of the windows not being there anymore. Or the doors. But it is good to have, like, some days where you're doing, like, the grind against the zombies, killing the zombies, doing all that stuff. In a couple of days, it's just like, you know what? We're just having a chill day, just doing our thing. All right, and since the game paused, that's just all mechanics saying, hey, I finished. I did all the things. Oh, I should show you something else. Actually, you know what? I haven't done the new player spiel yet this stream, so let's do the new player spiel. So, if you are new to the game, one of the first things I'd suggest is before you get anywhere into the game, go ahead and hit escape, go to options, go display. Now, you'll see here where it says blood decals. So one thing you're going to find is if you're doing runs that last for a long time or a very high body count, you may consider turning this down to either a low percent or none. And what this is every single time you kill a zombie, it dies. Little blood splatter. It's kind of cool. But those blood splatters never go away. As they pile up more and more and more, it's going to start having significant performance implications on your game. So if you notice as you get into your runs that the performance gets worse and worse, consider turning that off and see how it goes. The next one I would suggest, and this I believe is defaulted to this now, but just in case it's not, is the ISO cursor visibility. I would recommend putting it at 50 or 75%, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. After that, there is the show mouse cursor while aiming. This just means when you hold the right mouse button, you still will see your cursor moving around. Some people like it, some people don't. It's a preference thing. But if you're worried about losing track of your mouse, this is one way to help. And then the last one I would consider more than anything else out of those lists is the aim outline. It starts at ranged weapons. I recommend any weapon. And what that is when a zombie gets in range of a weapon, it'll put a green outline around that zombie, which means you will know that zombie is in range and you're good to hit it. It'll also let you know which zombie you're going to hit, because there's times it's not entirely clear. So for the ISO, like the ISO cursor, if you look when I'm holding my right mouse button, you'll see that kind of circle with a line about it. That's where I'm aiming. And you'll notice it does a pretty good job when it's on like really light background or really dark background. But sometimes when you find stuff that's kind of in between, like it's when it's a little rainy, it's not quite dark, it's not quite light, it can be really hard to distinguish where that is. And you do want to make sure exactly where that is, because that's where you're aiming, and you don't want to miss zombies. I would show you the trick where you can knock over zombies and just kill them, but there's and take them out of the fight, but there's no zombies here to show. But what that trick normally is if you knock down a zombie, whether it's you've pushed them, you hit them with a wrench and they fell over, whatever, and you walk and stand on them, that zombie cannot get up until you move, nor is it a threat to you until you move. The exception being if it's a crawler, don't stand on crawler, they'll bite your ankles. This is also true, though, if another zombie stands on them. And that's one of the reasons why you want to try and get a Congo line of zombies going straight at you versus perpendicular from you. Because when you knock over one zombie, the whole parade is going to walk across that zombie on its way to you until there's a big enough gap for that zombie to get up, or it reaches the back of the parade. Now, the reason you don't ever want to hit zombies when they're perpendicular to you is if you imagine I have one zombie directly in front of me here, and one here. I hit the one in the middle, and then the other two just walk right past and grab me, I get bit, and I die. Versus if they're in a straight line, I hit that one, it falls back a little, the next one shows up, you hit it, it falls back a little, the next one shows up, and you just kind of go through a cycle beating on them. And obviously the zombies aren't going to fully cooperate with your desire to get them to straight line up for you, but you can try and finagle them as best you can. Now, if I were to give any piece of advice to brand new players, my first and primary piece of advice would be slow down. This is not a game like Left 4 Dead where you run super fast and you just start wailing on the zombies as hard as you can and just trying to shove your way through them. You'll just get absolutely obliterated by the zombies doing that. Generally speaking, when you're going into the fight in the game, it is a very slow and methodical approach of going, okay, constantly adjusting your position to try and keep the zombies lined up as best you can so you can keep lining them up, knocking them down. Knowing when you start getting close to exert, it's okay, it's time that I give up this fight and I walk away. Because stuff like moderate exertion, when you see it up there, it's a damage penalty, but you might be used to other games where damage penalty might be 5 or 10%. Moderate exertion is like 20 to 30% damage penalty, and each level of exertion higher than that is even more damage penalty. If you're drowsy or tired on top of that, that's a damage penalty. If you get way too hot, you swing even slower, so you do even less damage. Like, these moodles up here, all of these mean things aren't great. And usually when they're like the light pink color, they don't really do much at that point. But when they start getting to like lighter reds and like full-on reds, just know it's probably bad news. So the moment you start getting exerted tired, it's time to say, hey, you know this fight? It's time to walk away. And that is kind of the reason why I say slow down. You'll notice I almost never run in the game, because one, there's no need, and two, it eats stamina, and stamina is life in a fight. Yes, and also, guns, I'm not going to say don't use them. They can be very, very useful tools. What I will say is, be very mindful that guns are very loud. A lot of players will jokingly refer to guns as dinner bells in this game, because you walk in the middle of town, you blast your sawed-off shotgun, and then suddenly the whole town is closing in on you. You're going to die, or you're going to have to play some real bullet hell with the zombies. So it is worth using guns, but you should use guns strategically and with intention. Because also, you don't have that much bullets, you can't just blast off with guns all the time unless you really change the sandbox settings a lot. They can be very useful. One thing I will say is, if you go to use guns, always start with a shotgun. Because, you know, the shotgun will help you level your aim a lot, and just think of aim as saying, what damage do you do with your gun? Generally speaking, I'll use the shotgun at any level of aim. I will use the 9mm and 38 revolver at like 2 aim or higher, and then once you get to like 4 or 5 aim, then I'm going to use pretty much any gun in the game. But like if you go popping off with like the Magnum and you're at 1 aim, you're just not going to do anything worth mentioning with it. Like, all those other guns are absolutely terrible till you get some points in aim. Another thing I'll mention about guns is the way you use guns in this, you don't just pull out your gun and start blasting. What I would do is say I have a shotgun and there's a horde of zombies. I would walk, I'd see them, I would stop, I would hold the right mouse button, aim in their direction, wait a couple seconds. As the zombies came in range, a green border would appear around them, and then I start shooting. If you start trying to move while shooting, you'll see the border around them will turn red, and what that's trying to tell you is your aim is absolutely crap because you're moving around. You do need to, you know, stop moving, aim, shoot. Then if you need to reposition, you do it. Then you stop moving, aim, shoot. It is not a go fast, you know, pop off. Like, that's not the kind of game this is, pretty much. Some other pro tips, and this is the thing that made me think, is like, oh yeah, I haven't done it. So I have these strawberries on us. You're going, wait, why did they give me boredom? That's because these strawberries are stale. Like, these are not fresh strawberries. These are disappointingly old strawberry. So I could eat that strawberry, and it would make me a little bored. Not a big deal. But, you know, that kind of sucks. Behold the magic of the bowl. This is one of your most bestest best friends for dealing with happiness. So if I right-click on this, and I say, I want to make a fruit salad, and I want to put a strawberry in it. So I put my 1 strawberry in it, suddenly it makes us happy. So we just basically took a stale strawberry, dropped it in a bowl, and suddenly it's like magically better. And that's true of like all produce. Certain meats you can put in the salad bowl and you'll have like a ham salad and all that. So yeah, bowls are your friend. Like, bowls are powerful. They honestly could use adjusting. Because honestly, they trivialize the happiness mechanic, in my opinion. So I've already taken stuff apart in there. I think there's a bunch of shells in back here we can cut apart with a propane torch. Yeah, so if you ever have food that's going stale, a bowl a lot of times can be just a way around it if it's produce. or specific other things. I don't care about taking apart any of the stuff that isn't metal. I'm just here for metal. Oh, and with high enough cooking, you actually can cook with rotten food and be okay, but, you know. This is true, Fenrir. That you can basically, with books, just ignore the happiness mechanic as well. The one thing I will say is I do find that I don't like carrying around the books because they're kind of heavy. Like, that's not a big problem, versus if you just carry a bowl around with you, no one cares. Alright, is that metalworking too? Okay, well we're done with metalworking for right now. Because I sure as hell am not doing it without the book read. Yeah, or smoking, or antidepressants, or sometimes just the game gets weird and just like, you know what, you're not sad anymore. And you're like, okay, game, I don't know what I did to not be sad, but sure. Or you can watch television. There's certain things on television that'll make you not sad. You can read the Hotties magazines. There's all sorts of nonsense that'll make you happy. Like, there's tons of food, like lollipops and peanut butter and all sorts of stuff that makes you happy. I know going for a walk outside helps with boredom. I don't know about unhappiness. Like, maybe it's those things that if you walk enough it helps and I'm just blissfully unaware. Because I would fully believe that, honestly. Because, like, seriously, mechanically, happiness is such... And even then, if you get, like, maximum sadness, all it happens is it just slows down the, slows down your action speed for looting and all that. So, like, switching weapons and putting stuff into storage is slow. Okay, so I'm looking for metalworking intermediates. Let's grab you. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, and it's not even like walking outside, so actually we'll get to see an example here. So we're going to get gradually bored as I sit inside this building reading. And that's fine. But the power of outdoors solves all boredom in this game. Why am I not getting bored? This is an inside place. Like, we're at a higher temperature and everything. And we've got sinks plumbed and all that good stuff. Maybe it's not considered inside anymore? That'd be interesting. So what I'm expecting is for our character to gradually get bored, but that's not happening for some reason. I mean, we'll probably just shove a bunch of strawberries in our mouth just to use as an example. I'm going to double check that this place is considered inside. I mean, maybe we're just really into metalworking. No, you definitely get bored in houses you built. So, 28 degrees, 40... So it's definitely considered interior. Now, because I finished that book and it's useless to me forever, I'm going to put it in the fire. Well, I'm going to put it in my stove. So, what I'm going to do is, because we're hungry, and to demonstrate this boredom thing, we're just going to eat a bunch of these stale strawberries. Because they're boring, and they're going to make us bored. Also, strawberries are kind of crap for hunger, for the record. But, when they're fresh, they make you happy. I mostly grew them because I was like growing everything. Alright, so we're getting a little bit bored. I'm just going to push my luck. I'm going to get us really bored. Because we got plenty of time to kill. Why not demo this out? As I mentioned, strawberries really crap for the old hunger. And even though I don't need it, I'm going to eat one more because we're going to go for absolute maximum boredom. Pinnacle of boredom. We are extremely bored with a very high chance of becoming unhappy. Oh no, what can we do about this? I can just walk outside. And if we watch here, our boredom will just drain away. Now, if you find a zombie, it's even better, because you give a zombie one little whack with a crowbar or have it chase you and just suddenly all your boredom's gone. It's something about, like, running for your life and not being sure if you're going to survive to the morning really helps with the boredom situation. I'm not going to find a zombie right now. It's fine. Yep, so we've already dropped from extremely bored to very bored, so you get the idea. Just being outside, you don't have to walk around. You could literally sit there, do absolutely nothing, but being outside, and I'm fast forwarding to make my point, and just watch that boredom melt away. Your character is just really into the outdoors. So yep, we were at maximum boredom, and we just sat in a single dirt patch in our yard. And now we're not bored at all. We are like fully entertained now. So, it's weird. But if you're ever bored, just go outside.